Kansas, where the best part of the city named after us is in Missouri. First of all, Kansas is home to some of the worst weather in the country. It's either scorching hot or freezing cold with endless stretches of boring flat land in between. And when we say Kansas weather, it literally means cold as hell one day and then hot as hell the next. But hey, I guess we need something interesting to balance out our boring landscape. Oh, and did I mention the tornadoes? These big wind funnels come barreling through in the springtime, and there just seem to be more every single year. Yeah, remember Dorothy and Toto? Need I say more? Speaking of the scenery, there's also a lack of natural beauty. Kansas is just one big, flat, boring expanse of land. There are no mountains, no oceans, no lakes. Just mile after mile of cornfields and wheat fields. There's really nothing to do in Kansas except sit in your house and count the seconds until you can move somewhere better. But besides the landscape, there's a major lack of entertainment. There's really nothing to do in Kansas. No good concerts, no good museums, no good theaters. Just a bunch of cornfields as far as the eye can see. But that's not all. Kansas is also home to some of the most boring cities in the country. Take Wichita, for example. It's the largest city in Kansas, and it's basically just a collection of strip malls and chain restaurants. There's no culture, no character, no nothing. But hey, at least there's some decent fun places around, right? But it's not just the cities either. Simply put, Kansas is flat. In fact, the running joke here is apparently that there was a study done and it concluded that Kansas is flatter than the average pancake. I couldn't think of a better way to put it even if I tried. Oh, and we also have to talk about the state motto. Translated, it means to the stars through difficulty. Yeah, because I'm sure we'll be reaching the stars anytime soon with our flat landscape. Not to mention the taxes. You'd imagine with such a boring state, there's gotta be at least some decently low taxes, right? Right? Well, Kansas disagrees. Kansas' sales tax is some of the highest in the country, because what we all wanted was to pay more money to live in such a boring and flat state. Okay, but there's one saving grace from all this boringness, our creepy folklore. Kansas is home to some seriously creepy folklore. There's a legend of the Blue Man of the Woods, a ghostly figure that lurks in the forest of eastern Kansas. And then there's a legend of Witch of the Stole, a supposed witch who haunts an abandoned cemetery in Lawrence. Yikes. Oh, then there's also the food. Let's be real, the food in Kansas is just plain awful. They're known for their barbecue, but let's face it, Kansas barbecue is just burnt, overcooked meat slathered in a sweet, sticky sauce. Gross. And who can't forget about the dining options? Kansas might be home to some of the biggest chain restaurants in the country, but when it comes to good local restaurants, the state falls flat, like its landscape. There are very few independent restaurants in Kansas, and the ones that do exist are usually pretty mediocre. There's also a major lack of public transportation. Kansas is a really car-dependent state. If you don't have a car, good luck getting around. The public transportation system is practically non-existent, and the closest thing we have is the 2 scooters that are always out of battery in downtown. Oh, and don't forget to combine the lack of transportation with the huge amount of dying small towns around here. You can have fun driving hours to get to a tiny, dilapidated town that's on the verge of becoming a ghost town. But hey, it makes for some good, creepy folklore at least. And when you combine the tiny towns with the endless stretches of nothingness in between, what do you get? That's right, the plethora of wild animals and bugs. Mosquitoes, ticks, chiggers, rattlesnakes, deer, wild pigs, rabbits. Kansas has it all. They're just about impossible to get rid of, and it's enough to drive anyone crazy. And finally, the only reason anyone ever knows this place exists is thanks to the Wizard of Oz. And these are all the reasons why Kansas is the worst state. Remember when Dorothy said, "We're not in Kansas anymore"? Yeah, you should live by that rule. Literally. Thanks for watching, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to comment which location you'd like to see roasted next.